All right. Hello, guys. Back again with OSL.MA. Today we are having a special guest, which is Alex from the CEO of Nansen. Maybe yeah, we would like to start this AMA with some little bit of introduction. Maybe I'll go first. Maybe for those who aren't familiar with what is OSL, I'll say that OSL is a crypto platform in Indonesia, a licensed one, a crypto exchange, licensed crypto exchange players in Indonesia. So, yeah, all right, Zaki already entered the stage. Let me add
Good timing.
Zaki in.
Hey everyone, Alex. Nice to meet
Hello.
you.
Hey, Zaki. How are you?
Sorry I'm too late. I'm good.
So we're
I'm good.
just about in the introduction part. So I was
Okay.
introducing about OSL. Maybe yeah, we can move to Alex. Maybe you can introduce yourself and
Yeah,
maybe your history, your
sure.
background, or your stories. Tell us some.
Yeah, good to be here. Happy to reach out to our users in Indonesia and maybe some non-users in Indonesia as well. My name is Alex. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Nansen. My background is in AI originally. I started working in crypto in 2017, which basically makes me a very old man in this industry at this point. What we do with Nansen, most people know us for on-chain analytics, but we have recently become more of almost like an on-chain full stack product where you can stake. You can also trade actually on-chain on Solana and Base and other chains soon. You can track your portfolio, but of course you can also see what the smart money is doing on-chain. We have 500 million labeled addresses that help you better understand what's happening on chain, which is very important for anyone investing in tokens. So our mission is to surface the signal and create winners. We believe that if we can help the pioneers, you guys who are watching, succeed in crypto, then the whole industry will benefit. So, and yeah, Indonesia is actually one of our top markets recently. We've seen a lot of growth in Indonesia. So I'm happy to be on the stream here.
Awesome. Awesome. I think that sounds very interesting that you mentioned before crypto you were actually into AI, or that's your background, right? And you switched to
Yeah.
crypto back in 2017, right? So that means
Yes.
you were in AI like super early on when people, haven't heard of things like ChatGPT, OpenAI, and a lot of other
But it
things.
didn't exist. Yeah, it didn't exist.
Exactly, they
Literally.
didn't exist. So, what was the difference, or what made you switch from AI to crypto back in 2017? What did you see back then, and
Hmm.
maybe what you see about crypto differently now after you've been in the industry for almost 10 years? Maybe you can share a little bit on that.
Yeah. So for context, so I took my master's degree in AI 2009, 2010, graduated at Edinburgh University, which is where Jeff Hinton, who is kind of the modern godfather of AI, took his PhD. And I worked as a data scientist, a data science manager. I did a lot of machine learning work for many years. And I discovered crypto through some of the engineers in one of the company I was working at. They were very excited about it. I had basically ignored Bitcoin for a few years because I thought it would only be used for money laundering and criminal activities like most boomers believed. So that was very stupid of me. But I discovered Ethereum, and I was very excited by the idea of permissionless innovation and being able to create dApps on a blockchain, and also being able to own a piece of that platform, which really appealed to me. And then at the same time, there were a lot of ICOs happening. And so that also kind of pulled me in. One of my friends was actually doing an ICO in Vietnam. It turned out to be a pretty successful one, actually. Kyber Network was the
Oh,
first
okay.
ICO that I invested in. And now I'm friends with Loy, the founder as well, who lives here in Singapore. But yeah, so AI has really changed since I graduated. There have been two big revolutions for the people who are interested in AI. The first one was something called deep learning, which happened in around 2013 when we saw a massive improvement in especially image and text models or language models. But of course, the bigger change was more recent, I guess around 2019, 20, when you had the transformer be introduced, which led to GPTs and ChatGPT and so on. And now you have, Claude Code, which I felt when I discovered it was like the best product I've ever used in my whole life. And then, 2 weeks later, I started using OpenClaw, and then I felt that was the best product I've used in my entire life. And now just, for the company, we are extremely focused on AI. We have actually, people can go to agents.nansen.ai if you want to read more about what your AI agents can do with Nansen. We have a great command line interface that your agents can use. We have an MCP, we have an API, all this stuff. So we're really bullish on agentic trading and on how AI can be used in crypto more broadly.
Wow, awesome. Maybe speak a little bit about the synergy between AI and crypto and how Nansen can fill into this role. Because I think there has been a lot of experiments around, using crypto as the payment mode for some of the agents. I think a lot of teams are working towards this, but for our audience, they're probably not that familiar of
Yeah.
how far advanced in terms of use cases is it actually working or not right now. Yeah.
So one really important use case from my point of view is anyone who's been in crypto for some years will know that the crypto user experience is generally very poor. It is very fragmented and it's very confusing. You might go to a website, you have to go to a second website, you have to bring up a wallet, and then you have to sign that. And overall, it's very confusing to do anything on chain, right? And so I think actually a big improvement that AI brings is that AI can abstract away a lot of the complexity for you because you just talk to the agent, and then the agent takes care of stuff under the hood. So I'll use this chance to also mention another product we have, which is our mobile app, which is, I think, pretty popular. It's getting more popular in Indonesia. It's one of our main growth markets right now. But basically, if you download Nansen AI, our mobile app, you can go in and you can just talk to the agent. And you'll quickly discover that, it's quite nice to have an agentic on-chain and fully integrated user experience in one product. So from my point of view, I think agents and AI can actually make the user experience a lot less confusing because you're just talking to an agent, almost like you're talking to a friend. And we're seeing this also with OpenClaw for the people who are interested in AI. You can run your own agent on your own computer at home or in a VPS in the cloud, and you can actually give the Nansen CLI to that agent. And what I find is that it's more convenient over time for me to just talk to my agent if I want to make trades, or if I want to send someone money, if I want to research a token, I'll just talk to my agent, and then the agent takes care of it. So for me, that's probably the primary use case. There are also a few other use cases that we are less focused on, but I think are very important, which is that with AI, you're going to get, and we're already seeing it, a huge amount of content and like deep fakes and all sorts of stuff be created. I think blockchains can be very useful in proving authenticity and preventing spam through clever incentives. That's a more like intellectual thing for now, but I think that's also going to be a really important synergy between AI and blockchains. But for me, the big one is that it's just going to make the user experience so much easier and more streamlined for people. By the way, the Nansen app, you can also change the language to Bahasa, so you can speak with it in Bahasa. So that's something for people trying it out that they should see, and give us feedback if the Bahasa is not good enough.
Absolutely. Do you have a specific name for this agent? Like some platforms, they name the agent so that it seems like an actual human or friend, right? Do you have a name for it?
It's a good question. It's a good question. We discussed this a lot internally, and we basically landed on let's not have a name for it. It's just the Nansen agent.
Okay.
We do have some other agents that are running inside of the company that have names, and so if you ever send a support request, you might get an answer from an agent that has a name, and you won't be able to tell if it's a human or an agent.
Right.
but in the app for now it does not have a name. Although
Okay.
I have some ideas on like what I would name it, but I'll keep those secret for now.
Okay, gotcha. Then for everyone, feel free to try the app, download the app, and try the agent. Give Alex a lot of feedbacks. I think this agent is especially useful, not only for the AV traders, but especially for
Mm,
probably people don't who don't have too much time to delve into the Dex's interaction, right? Because I think when it comes to trading crypto, especially in the past 2 years, I think most of the gains are actually happening on chain instead of on the centralized exchanges, because people usually scoop the token up, it got listed on the
yeah.
exchanges. After it got listed, then the token performance is usually, if not stagnant, then tend to be going down. I think in the past 2 years, so the majority of the gain is there, but the problem is for people who are not really natively into crypto but still want to, chip in terms of investment or speculation. Dexes can be, quite intimidating for them, right?
Mm,
So
agree.
if there can be an agent that is actually functional that can help them to execute their trading thesis, their investment thesis, then it could be a very powerful tool. Could also be helpful for our, like, grandmother, grandfather, for example,
Yeah.
right? They just need to
Yeah,
tell the
totally.
agent what they want to get, and the agent can help to execute.
Totally. I mean, I think you're exactly right. There are a lot of people who are curious on crypto, but they don't know how to, make a trade on a DEX, or how to set up a
Yeah,
wallet, or how to get Sol or ETH into their wallet. It's very confusing, right? Like I was saying earlier. So my hope is that we're going to make trading more accessible, but also safer, because you have an agent there that you can actually work with, right? And you can ask it questions.
yeah,
The agent is basically optimized to help you as an investor and as a trader. That's the only thing it cares about. It doesn't, it can't help you with other things. It can't help you, write emails or whatever else you'd want to do with an agent. It's fully
mhm,
built to help you with on-chain investing. And
nice.
so, yeah, my hope is that it's more accessible and also safer to work with an agent than to be totally on your own.
I see. Is it free to use? Does it need to have subscription? What's the model for this agent?
So the app is free to use. The agent has a limit on how many prompts you can give it, because it actually costs us money to
Mm,
service the prompts. And but you do get to try it out. I think you have something like 20 credits that any free user gets, which is more than enough to get a feel for it. And if you want to sign up for a subscription, it's $69 a month, or $49 a month if you're paying annually. So, and that gives you practically unlimited prompts. But you can use the app for other things, right? You have portfolio tracking in it for every chain that you care about. You get your own wallet that you can use, a self-custodial wallet.
mm,
You can actually make swaps in it, and that doesn't cost anything besides the fees. But yeah, so the app is free. The only thing that will cost you money is if you prompt it a lot, if you prompt the agent a lot.
makes sense. I guess I'll pass the mic to Vincent to make it more balanced. Go ahead, Vincent, with the question.
Oh, are we moving to the Q&A session now?
No, I think we're still with
Oh,
the prepared question. Sorry, I went a little bit out of the script, I think, because Alex brought up some interesting topics. So you can come back to the to the script.
all right, all right. Okay. Yeah, maybe we would like to give our audience here a little bit more context. What is the current plan of Nansen? What is the current
Mm.
product stage, and what is your roadmap for the next 6 months?
Yeah, absolutely. So the current state, again, I would encourage everyone to download the mobile app Nansen AI. For people who kind of prefer to dig a bit more into the details, to look at analytics, dashboards, metrics, you can also go to Nansen.ai, our website, where you can see a bit more of a kind of a power view that is a bit more complex. To some people, it's intimidating, but you get both the tables, the charts, all of that stuff, plus the agent as well in the web version. Another thing that we're very excited about, I mentioned it earlier, that we have shipped is our command line interface. this maybe sounds technical, and to some extent it is, but if you have an AI agent like an OpenClaw, you can run npm install Nansen-CLI, and now your OpenClaw has eyes on chain. It gives you basically on-chain capabilities, so you can start talking to it about, hey, what is smart money buying, right? And which tokens are trending right now, and so on and so forth on multiple different chains. So that's a big focus for us right now. We're seeing a lot of growth in people using AI agents, where they use our CLI. And so we're also doing a lot of work internally on researching our agent so that the agent becomes the best agent for on-chain in the universe. So I think if we think about the roadmap, I'm basically really focused on kind of three main things. The first one is to make the CLI the best toolkit for on-chain agents. That's the first toolkit you want to give to your OpenClaw or your AI agent if you want it to do anything on-chain. That's the first part. The second part is to develop our own agents in-house, which we already have with our mobile app, that you can see, but we are continuously investing in research to make it faster, to make sure that the quality of the responses is better. And third, which leads me to the third part of the roadmap, we also want to make sure that it can trade autonomously. And so this is a big step, right? And we're not going to rush into it. That would be kind of like rushing into full self-driving cars, and then they would crash and burn, and that's not a good start. You have to ease into it. So the third part of what we're doing is effectively to launch an environment that allows you to trade, to launch trading agents that trade autonomously. And so this is really, really exciting. And like, there's a lot of work we're doing on that front, which I can't wait to share with people. But basically, the roadmap is very focused on agentic trading, because that's what you believe is going to be the future. And I think it's going to bring in way more people into trading and investing. And also, hopefully, they will have better outcomes, and they will feel like this is a safer experience because they have someone there with them that they can trade with. So that's the overall goal, that what we're trying to do. The number one focus for us is agentic trading. And so, by the way, for those people who know Nansen, we might be users for many years. You might know us for things like smart money. We're doing big investments to make the smart money tagging even better. We're doing some really great research work on this front right now. And that means that the agent has even better signals and even better analytics that it can tap on when you are working with it.
Go ahead with the next one, Vincent.
All right. Yeah, I saw that the agentic agent is currently trending in Twitter, the agentic trading one. But yeah, I'm curious. What do you think about those user who is um, just started exploring the on-chain data? What do you think? What is the most practical ways for them to start with the Nansen AI?
Yeah, I think historically it's been kind of confusing and difficult, and maybe you had to write SQL, to make your own dashboards and that kind of stuff. But I think the benefit now is that you can literally just talk to the agent, right? I keep saying this, but it's really true, right? You go in, and if it's confusing initially to find out which dashboard to go to, or like where you should find out, some answer to some question you have, you could just literally ask the agent instead. And so I think it just makes everything a lot more accessible to people. And my view is that when we started building Nansen AI, the mobile app and our agent, we basically asked ourselves, what do we think trading looks like in 2030? And we sort of landed at this conclusion that in 2030, we think dashboards are going to be dead. And we think the conventional trading interface of like order books and so on is going to be dead. And instead, people are just going to work through agents in a conversational manner. It could be through voice, right? It's funny because in the 1980s, you've seen these clips of people calling their broker on the phone on these old,
Yeah.
late 1980s mobile phones, calling the broker like, hey, buy Microsoft stock or whatever. So we might actually go back to a user experience that is almost like that, where you're calling your AI agent and you're saying, hey, place a trade for me on this token, buy this many units and whatnot, and it does it. Or hey, set up like a DCA strategy for me, or create a basket of tokens. There's all these different things you could ask these agents, whether it's voice or text or whatnot. So so I think that the best way to get started is literally just talk to the agent. Like that is the best way to do it. Thankfully, we've made it very, very simple for you. And if you get stuck, you can just ask it, which is another amazing thing about AI agents, right? Like, hey, why did you do that? Or hey, do you have data on this chain? Or can I find out this? Can I learn about NFTs on Near, which we were chatting about before the show started, Vincent and I. And I don't think it has NFT data on Near, unfortunately. But yeah, so you could just ask the agent is like the TLDR.
Yeah. Another thinking is, if by 2030 the majority of the market participants are actually using agent to trade, do you think that will impact the market volatility? Because I think the reason why crypto has been so volatile is because mostly it's retail users who have a lot of emotions, right? They see things going
Right.
up, they follow with another buys. They see things going down, they panic solve, or even open a short.
Yeah.
For agents, they will be emotionless, right? They will be acting based on rational decision or judgment.
Mm.
Um, if that's the case, then probably the old crypto market that we know of, which was partly interesting because of it, will probably won't be the same, right? And it probably becomes
Yeah.
super efficient in a way
It
that
is.
it is very small.
I'm 100% sure it's not going to be the same. I'm not 100% sure on what it's going to look like. I think there's going to be room for human traders and agent traders, but I do think most people will prefer to trade either through an agent or to deposit funds into an agent that then trades autonomously. I've even thought that you might even get index products that are effectively an index of multiple different trading agents that are working. So there's a lot of different ways that this can play out. I do think in some ways it might get harder, especially if you are a human and you are not trading with an agent, you're just trading manually. I think that's going to be extremely hard and maybe not even worth it. So you get a bit of like inflation on the tools that you use. If everyone has like an Iron Man suit, you can't just go into the battlefield, naked, right? You need to have an Iron Man suit as well. And so I think that's what's going to happen. I'm not sure it's going to be hyper rational because people will still find ways to be crazy and irrational in markets. But one practical thing I would recommend for people who are checking out our mobile app is if you already have a wallet that you have a trading history with on chain, you can actually plug that in and monitor the portfolio of it. And then you can ask the agent, hey, look at my portfolio history and my trading track record. What were my biggest wins? What were my biggest losses? What do you think characterizes my trading style? What do you think I am not doing so well? And what do you think I could do better? You can ask it, and then it will scan through your transaction history, and maybe you'll learn something about your own trading personality.
Yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense. It's kind of like how some people thought in the next few years, probably some of the top CEOs will be replaced by AI, because we can just feed, for example,
Oh
like
dear.
Elon Musk's decision making in the past and feed that into the agent, and they can learn from it, right?
Yeah,
Um,
I think
yeah.
I think the CEO gets a new role. I've kind of joked that I think CEO in 2026 stands for Chief Entertainment Officer, which I think partially is what Elon is doing as well. And if you look at people like Palmer Luckey at
Right.
Anduril and Alex Karp at Palantir, like these are very, very, very entertaining and very smart people. So maybe they have an agent doing their job, and then they're just out there doing like podcasts and
Mm.
and being on TV, being entertaining. Who knows?
Exactly, exactly. I think just one last one before we move on to the live question. Maybe you can talk a little bit about the point system that Nansen has. I mean,
Yeah.
when it comes to point system, user usually expect, does this mean that Nansen will have, a token soon? Does this mean TG is coming, or what's about this point system?
Yeah. So, firstly, we created Nansen Points because we have a great user base and we wanted to create something that would help us reward our loyal users. And so, when we created this points program, we didn't want it to be kind of a short thing. We wanted it to be a long term investment into our users and that they would invest back into the product. So, what we have already done is we've already added a bunch of different partner perks in the program that points holders can access. And it could be anything from free access to products, order a free cast card, for example, that you can use to buy things with stable coins. There's a bunch of information products you can get access to. You can get discounts on a ledger or on other hardware wallets, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we have a lot of existing points perks that are very nice from partners. You also get discounts on your Nansen subscription. And the third part, which is maybe the more interesting part for most people, is what we've referred to as permissionless rewards. And so we kind of made it easy for people, for other projects, to essentially distribute their tokens to Nansen Points holders. And we've
Mm.
already seen a few projects doing this, like Wallet Connect did an airdrop to Nansen Points holders as an example. And there are many other projects that have done this. What we are focused on right now, and we will share more details about this later, is what we call joint venture protocols. And so the thinking is that Nansen will co-create protocols that we think are needed in crypto. And the idea is that Nansen Points holders will be owners of these protocols from the beginning. In other words, they will receive tokens in these projects that we are working on and co-creating. So that is basically the overall idea. And maybe some people will have seen this already, but we have a new tokenized index product called NX8.
Right.
And so this one was actually not issued by Nansen. It's issued by one of our partners called Open Delta. And so Open Delta creates NX8. We have helped create the methodology for it. So I'll just briefly explain what it is, and then I'll tie it back to points. So NX8 is an index product that consists of the top 8 layer 1s. So you might have this feeling of, should I buy Sol? Should I buy ETH? Do we think Sui is going to flip them? What about Hyperliquid? But maybe I should just own Bitcoin. So we created an index product that contains all of the top layer 1s, right? It includes Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, BNB, TRX, Hype, Sui, and AVAX. These are the top 8 layer 1s based on our on-chain assessment. We look at activity metrics, we look at TVL, we look at revenues, we look at DEX volume, all of that stuff. And we created one index product called NX8, and it's a token now on Solana. And so this is the first tokenized index product or tokenized product we created with Open Delta. And the thinking is that we will have more of these coming later. And what we are working on is to find a way for Nansen Points holders to actually become stakeholders in Open Delta as the platform. So we will share more details on that, but I hope to be able to share something in maybe 4 to 5 weeks, and then we'll keep sharing more and more information as we go. But this is basically the idea that Nansen co-creates protocols. We call these JVPs, joint venture protocols. The first JVP is Open Delta, and Open Delta soon-ish, we will start sharing more information about how Nansen Points holders become stakeholders in that endeavor.
Awesome. Vincent, should we go to live question and answer, or do you still have some questions?
Sure, we can move to the Q&A now. I'll be showing some question on the screen now.
I see a lot of questions flying in, so I'm happy to see people are engaged. That's awesome.
Mhm. You can also pick yourself if you see specific one that you want to
They're actually
answer.
flying by super fast, so I think I'll have to get you you guys to pick them out.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so how does the new agentic trading experience create a unique edge compared to pure analytics tools like Dune or Arkham, where users still have to switch platform to act on insights? Yeah, great question. I actually just had a call with Mats, the Dune CTO, 2 hours ago. He's a friend of mine. And we used to work together actually before in crypto.
Okay.
So I would say I think these kind of fulfill different purposes. What we focus on firmly is on-chain trading, and we want to do that full stack, right? The whole journey, discovering tokens, researching whether these tokens are good, and then executing directly through a DEX on-chain. So you can't really do that with a product like Dune. Dune is great for getting the analytics, looking at the dashboards that the community members create, but you can't really act on it there, right? You have to go somewhere else to execute. So for the people who want to just have one integrated product where you can go full stack, and also you might not want to dig around in different dashboards, you just want to ask an agent, you can use Nansen for that. So I think they're complementary, like they're worth using both of them, but they serve a slightly different purpose.
Yeah.
And by
I
the
guess-
way, one thing I should mention is that Nansen also has 500 million labeled addresses that we've built up over 6 years. And the quality of our labels is better than any other product out there. We have evidence for every single of those 500 million address labels in our database, so that if you ever ask us, hey, why did we label this address Zaki? We can say, well, because he posted it in this tweet, or because he was active in the governance forum on this token, and then he shared it. So I see you getting a little bit worried there, Zaki, but that's kind of the level of documentation and evidence that we compile for all of our labels, and you can only find that degree of quality and coverage by using Nansen.
I never knew what's the total number of on-chain wallet addresses. When you mentioned 500 million, is that like already covering the majority of existing wallet addresses, or what's the percentage, do you think, roughly?
It's a good question. The short answer is no. There's way more. So probably in the billions. I'm not 100% sure on the exact number. But we basically focus on there's a bunch of addresses that are like one-time use and kind of uninteresting. We have spent a lot of time labeling the addresses that are actually worth following and are worth looking at, that are active, that have large volume. So we have our own algorithms internally for how to prioritize which addresses to label, because it's actually too expensive to label all of them, and it's hard to label all of them. And so we have literally AI agents working behind the scenes, constantly labeling addresses autonomously for us, compiling evidence, and then we have human reviewers internally that look at that.
Wow. Even the one that's labeling the addresses are AI. They're not actually.
That's right.
Human.
This is funny, because this is kind of one of the first areas where we used AI, and we named the company Nansen AI because we knew we were going to use AI to label addresses. But that's actually why we named it that initially. But now, of course, you see AI in the front end of the product too. So like it's kind of AI all the way down now.
Interesting. Go ahead with the second one, Vincent.
Yeah, for the next question, I'm really excited about this one because I think this is a good use cases. I'll show it in the screen now.
Does Nansen plan to create simple on-chain tools for retail traders on platforms like OSL Indonesia? Well, you guys tell me. Maybe we should talk about that. I don't know. Maybe we can give out some Nansen subscriptions to some of your users. Maybe that's one thing we could try doing.
That's cool. Yeah.
That's the easiest way to collaborate, right? Maybe we can give away like X number of, I don't know, discounted subscription for Nansen AI. Something like that.
That's a great idea. Asri, hopefully I pronounced that correctly. Let's see if we can put together a small raffle or a small contest or something with OSL to give out some Nansen subscriptions.
We'll do it right away. Maybe tomorrow.
All right, let's do it. Sure.
Nice.
All right. Yeah, for the next questions. Yep, this one from Numin. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, so we are famous for tracking smart money. So we just talked about labeling addresses, and smart money is basically our concept where we try to figure out which addresses have been successful trading on chain. Because you
Mm,
can see everything that happens on chain, you can see who makes money, who loses money, who's smart
mm,
money, who's dumb money. Maybe not to be rude to those, and so. Um, so the question is, do we plan to expand the wallet labeling system to help users detect fund flows from funds or KOLs earlier? I mean, generally, we do already have funds. We have KOLs tagged as public figures, even with names whenever we find out what their addresses are. And so we're constantly labeling, and let us know if we missed anything, and then we'll improve. But generally, we have very sophisticated methods internally and processes to capture these flows. So if you go in, you can actually most likely find whatever public figure that you're interested in. And like I said, send me a message on Twitter if there's anything we missed, and you can share it with us, and we'll label it.
awesome, awesome. Do you have some kind of, I don't know, study cases? Like, what's the percentage of winning rate for the users who have been following smart
Yeah,
money, for example?
I love that you asked this, because this is literally a research project we're doing internally now to make it more like quantitative and to be able to be more transparent on this. So we are doing some pretty advanced research to both make the smart money smarter, but also to be able to track to what extent it actually helps users more quantitatively.
Yeah.
So, for context, historically, it's been very hard for us to track whether people are actually making money using Nansen, because they would trade somewhere else, right? They would go to another venue.
Mm,
But since late January, so it's very new actually, since late January, you can get your own Nansen wallet, a self custodial wallet, in our mobile app.
okay.
And if you trade with that, then obviously we have better tracking of how you do. So the
Mm,
idea is that once we have more data, we'll be able to more confidently say what are the signals that actually help people, make money. What are the things that
right.
actually maybe confuse users and they're not helpful. So this is actually one thing I'm very excited about, because if you have everything integrated in one product, you can actually help monitor to see what actually helps investors end to end.
Makes sense. Makes sense. That'll be interesting. Okay. Next one.
Good question. With so many new blockchains emerging, how does Nansen decide which chains to integrate into its analytics platform? Yeah, this is a great question. It's actually a hard question, or it's a very easy question, depending on how you look at it. The short answer is we integrate the blockchains that users actually care about, that the users want to use.
Mm,
And so we look at on-chain transactions. We look at DEX volume, we look at TVL, we look at all these different metrics to help us decide. Sometimes we are confident in a chain before it launches, and we decide to integrate it even before it launches. So a good example of this was Monad, which was very
okay.
hyped, and we decided to integrate it, so we had support for it on day one. We are actually one of the top validators now for Monad. So if you have Monad and you want to stake it, you can actually stake it through Nansen. I think we're the fourth largest validator for Monad last time I checked. And so that's one example of a chain that we actually integrated before, because we knew a lot of people wanted it and wanted to use it. But we look at the metrics. That is kind of the short answer. And what I will say is, I think in the last 2 years, we've seen a lot of chains and layer twos come to market. And so we have integrated a lot of chains. But some of those chains have also not worked out. They have not received, enough traction. And so right now we are more focused on kind of doubling down on the winning chains that we see people actually using. And like I said earlier, we have NX8, which is kind of the main, that's like the tier one chains that we prioritize. And I'll mention them again. Obviously, Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB, Solana, Tron, Hyperliquid, Sui, and AVAX. These 8 chains we know have a lot of activity. So we've given them kind of a higher priority in terms of support. But we also do have, other chains that are not in NX8 that we have great support for. That Ethereum layer 2s, we have great base support, we have great Arbitrum, and so on. We have great near support as well. We have some Canton support, and we run a Canton validator.
Nice.
So so all in all, it's actually a great question. But the short answer is we integrate the chains that people actually want.
Okay. Last one, Chen.
What is one underrated feature in Nansen that most users ignore but could provide a strong trading edge? I don't know if this is an underrated feature, but I definitely would recommend smart alerts, which I didn't talk about yet. This is a great feature. And you can configure it with the agent. You can go in and say, hey, tell me every time a whale buys Pengu or something like that. Tell me every time you see $100,000 transaction of NX8, and the agent configures a notification for you that you can get pushed to your Telegram or to your Slack or to your Discord. But most people use Telegram, as you can imagine. And so to take it one step further, for the people who are into AI and maybe have an OpenClaw, one thing I recently discovered, which I thought was really cool, is that if you set up smart alerts, then you can have those smart alerts be forwarded to your OpenClaw. And so the OpenClaw can potentially explain the smart alert, or it can research the smart alert. So, this address just bought, $1 million worth of Pengu. You forward it to the OpenClaw, and the OpenClaw, if you've given it the Nansen CLI, can research who the address is or why they bought it or what's happening. So that is actually, I think, a big alpha leak for the power users who are interested in OpenClaw and AI agents. Set up smart alerts and then pipe the smart alerts into your OpenClaw. I think that's like there's a whole new world of things you could do with that.
Interesting. A lot of alpha here. Okay, is that all of the live questions? Supposed to be 5, right? So Alex, it's up to you if you want to pick some more, but if not, we can. Well, I have some more questions before we close it up. I mean, from my side, I'm mostly interested with the NX8 because it's one of the new thing coming from Nansen, joint venture protocol, right?
Yes.
In terms of the the marketing plan for it, how do you plan to brand this token or this product to the users? Is it targeting the retail? Is it targeting institutional investor? How will you do it differently compare with just marketing normal tokens, for example, because it is not right.
So I actually think this token NX8 should appeal to most crypto investors, and I'll categorize them in 3 different groups. One group is kind of the normal retail investors, right? People who are not necessarily experts, but they want to put some money into crypto. That's one group. Another group is the kind of degen retail investors, the people who spend a lot of time researching crypto. They're really into it. They know how to use DeFi, wallets, all that stuff. And then the third group is institutions, people coming from like TradFi that are maybe not that crypto native, but they want some kind of exposure to crypto. I actually think NX8 is a really interesting token for all 3, but our focus initially will be on our core user segment, which is the people who are crypto native, right? The people in the middle, the second segment, people who are basically familiar with Camino, or they're familiar with how to deal with tokens in a Solana wallet, right? That's kind of the core segment we want to start with, because we know that segment really well and we have a lot of users in that segment. Now, I think second, it's actually a very compelling product for the more normie retail investors too, because I think most people don't want to spend time figuring out which layer one is winning, which layer one has the most users, has the most TVL, whatever. So you just buy the basket, just buy all 8 in one token. It's a very simple value proposition. And so, many index products, by the way, they have a management fee. There is no management fee for NX8. So even if you recreate this manually, you're not saving any money. You might as well just hold NX8. Right. And so I think that's the second one. Eventually, maybe we get to TradFi, but I'm more passionate about helping retail investors. So I think we'll start with the degens. I think the normies are going to be next, and then maybe one day we'll get to the TradFi investors as well, the institutions.
Right, that makes sense. I guess for the retail user, the biggest challenge to explain this is gonna be the explanation. I mean, the education part of it, because in one glance, people will probably not really understand that it is actually a representative of multiple assets, right? Because people nowadays they have a very short, span of time of attention. They just see tokens with a name, right? So NX8, there's a number 8 there, but probably the biggest challenge for
8
you
is
guys.
A lucky number, by the way. But yeah,
it's a lucky number. But the biggest challenge
but yeah,
for you
that's
guys
right.
to
It might be a little bit mysterious to people the first time they see it. They might not know it. At some like early in the days, I'm sure like S&P 500 was also kind of mysterious to people. But over time, it can take on its own brand, and so I do think if we have great distribution and great partners, and of course, you should list NX8 on OSL. It would be great if people could just buy it there. That's probably the easiest way to buy it for Indonesians. And so I think that would be great, because then you start basically building up this brand through great distribution channels, right? And a lot of crypto, even if we talk about trustless systems, a lot of crypto is about trust, and people tell each other about products, about tokens, about what to do. And so, I think it would be great to see more people recommend NX8 to each other if they don't know what they should buy, right? Because you're buying basically what we call beta, right? You're buying kind of the market, more or less. You're not buying the full market of crypto. We've stripped out a lot of the stuff that you don't maybe need, but at least you have exposure to all of these top 8 layer ones. And if you want to make a bet on blockchains as a category, it seems really strange to me that if blockchains do well, none of these 8 do well. That seems very unlikely. I mean, it could happen, right? It could. So don't you should always be aware that you can lose all your money when you invest in crypto. Everyone should understand that. But it seems to me unlikely that all of these 8 blockchains are going to go to zero, and we're going to have some totally different blockchain that's going to take over instead.
Well, it has Bitcoin. If Bitcoin goes to zero,
exactly.
I'm not sure what's going to happen to the
then. Exactly, it has Bitcoin. So if that goes to zero, but I think generally when friends and family would ask any of us, right, what crypto should I buy? It's the first crypto. You say Bitcoin as like the main one, but many people are like, okay, I understand like Bitcoin, but what else? And that's when you start talking about, well, maybe ETH, maybe Sol, and then they start getting a bit confused. And so what I hope is people will just say, just buy the index, buy NX8. You get the top 8 layer ones, and you don't have to worry about it. It gets rebalanced every quarter. Here's the methodology if you want to read about it. Here's the attestation of where all the underlying assets are custodied, right? They're custodied with Anchorage, Hex Trust, Fortify. These are like, top tier custodians. So yeah, I think it's worth looking at. And hopefully we'll see NX8 on OSL.
Cool. Absolutely. Spoiler alert again. I guess that will be the last one, right, Vincent? Anything else maybe you want to ask to Alex? Or
Nothing from my side. Just hearing the answers, I'm super convinced now. Later, I think I will be downloading the app now and subscribe to the agent.
Awesome. That's great. Happy to hear that. Hopefully more people will do the same. And if you have any feedback and any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. You can ping us also
For sure.
on
For
X.
sure.
You can reach out to us. We have a Discord and all of that stuff. So yeah, anyone should check out Nansen.ai or download the mobile app Nansen AI.
Awesome. That will be it then. Thanks so much, Alex, for being here. Very happy to host you. Hopefully, this is not the first and the last AMA that we do together. We'll be very keen on getting an update of NX8 or whatever other product that you're gonna have in the future. Hopefully, we can make this quite a regular AMA with Nansen. Maybe once a month, once every 2 months or something.
Sounds great.
Yeah, very happy to be here. Thanks for everyone who attend tonight, and see you next time. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you, guys.
Take care.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everyone.